Zara never imagined that taking an emergency catering shift would lead her straight into the ballroom where her ex-fiancé was celebrating his wedding to another woman. 4 years ago, Marcus Whitfield disappeared from her life after his mother paid her to vanish, and she'd spent every day since raising their son alone, working herself to the bone while he lived in luxury. She thought she could stay invisible, just another server in black and white, collecting her paycheck and escaping unnoticed. But then her 4-year-old son broke free from the back office, ran through 200 wedding guests, and threw himself at Marcus screaming, "Daddy!" shattering the lies that had kept them apart and igniting a firestorm that would destroy Marcus's perfect life and force them both to confront the manipulation, the secrets and the love they never stopped feeling. What happened next would prove that some truths refuse to stay buried, no matter how deep you bury them. Subscribe and comment below if you've ever had a secret come out at the worst possible moment, because this story is about to get wild. The preschool's chain-link gate clanged shut behind them as Elijah skipped ahead, his dinosaur backpack bouncing against his small shoulders. Zara's phone buzzed in her pocket, Maria's name flashing across the cracked screen. "Please tell me you can work tonight." Maria's voice carried the edge of desperation Zara knew too well. Grand Rose Hotel. "Wedding reception. Gabriella's got food poisoning and I'm screwed." Zara watched Elijah crouch to examine a dandelion pushing through the sidewalk crack. Friday night, her weekend with her son. "Maria, I can't. Double time, 6 hours, 320 cash." The electric bill notice on her refrigerator flashed through her mind. Bright pink, final warning. Elijah's shoes with the sole peeling away from the toe. "I'll need to call my mum." Rita arrived at 6:15, her hospital cafeteria uniform wrinkled from the shift, but her hug for Elijah was warm. "Go on, we'll be fine." Zara changed quickly, fingers working through her hair into a tight French braid. The mirror showed what it always did. Dark circles she covered with drugstore concealer, uniform pressed despite being washed thin, presentable, professional, invisible in the way service workers needed to be. "Mommy," Elijah wrapped his arms around her knees as she grabbed her purse. "When you coming back?" She crouched to his level, smoothing his curls. "Before you wake up, and tomorrow we're having special pancakes, the dinosaur ones." "With chocolate chips?" "With chocolate chips." After he released her, she paused at her bedroom door. The jewelry box on her dresser held almost nothing of value: costume earrings, a broken watch, her grandmother's thin gold chain. She opened the bottom compartment, fingers finding the photograph she'd kept despite every rational reason to throw it away. Marcus's smile looked back at her, 4 years younger, his arm around her waist at the harbor, both of them laughing at something she could no longer remember. She'd loved him. God, she'd loved him. And then his mother's check, his silence, the realization that whatever she'd thought they had was never real enough to survive the gap between their worlds. She closed the box. The Grand Rose Hotel's service entrance smelled like industrial cleaner and roasted meat. Kitchen chaos surrounded her, shouted orders in English and Spanish, the clatter of plates, steam rising from every surface. Maria thrust a serving tray into her hands. "VIP crowd, best behavior, smile, they tip better." Zara lifted her chin, straightened her shoulders, and pushed through the ballroom doors into golden light and string music, and a life that had never been hers. Crystal chandeliers threw fractured light across everything, white roses cascading from centerpieces, gold-rimmed china, silk table runners the color of champagne. The string quartet drew out Pachelbel's canon, notes swelling toward the vaulted ceiling. 200 guests glittered in designer gowns and tailored suits, their jewelry catching the light like small fires. Zara lifted her tray higher, chin up, shoulders back. Professional invisibility. She'd perfected it over years of serving people who never bothered learning her name. Then she saw the banner. Ivory silk stretched across the back wall, gold script flowing. "Marcus and Vanessa, a love story begins." The tray lurched. Champagne sloshed against crystal. Zara caught it barely, her breath strangling in her throat. Marcus. Her Marcus. No, not hers. Not for 4 years. She backed toward a marble column, pressing her spine against cold stone. Her heart hammered so loud she was certain the nearby guests could hear it over the violin. There, by the head table, Marcus Whitfield stood in a tuxedo that probably cost more than her rent, accepting congratulations from a silver-haired couple. He looked exactly the same. Same gentle brown eyes, same slight dimple when he smiled, but something was different, hollowed out. like he was watching his own life from a distance. His bride circled the room in a fitted white gown that showed off her slim figure, dark hair swept into an elaborate updo. Vanessa. She commanded attention the way Marcus never did, her laugh carrying across conversations, one hand always touching someone's arm, working the room like a campaign. Zara's legs trembled. She should leave, walk out, forfeit the money, catch the bus home to Elijah. Elijah, Marcus's son, the child he didn't know existed. The champagne flutes blurred. 4 years ago she'd been different, younger, still believed love mattered more than money or status or family expectations. They'd met at a corporate event she was catering. She'd been refilling the seafood display when he appeared beside her, asking which shrimp were the freshest. Not because he cared, she realized later, but because he wanted an excuse to talk to her. His smile had been nervous, almost shy, completely at odds with his expensive suit. "The ones on the left," she'd said. "They came in this morning. You know the delivery schedule?" "I pay attention." That smile had widened. "So do I." A year later, they were engaged. She was 24, working 3 jobs, but deliriously happy. He was 26, finishing Harvard Business School, caught between his dreams and his mother's iron grip on his future. They'd talked about opening a restaurant together, his business skills, her cooking, small, intimate, theirs. Then she'd found out about Elijah. "You look terrible." Maria appeared at her elbow, frowning. "You getting sick too?" "Just warm." Zara straightened, forced her face smooth. "I'm fine." She wasn't fine, but she needed this money. $320. Elijah's shoes, the electric bill. She could do this. Stay on the opposite side of the room, serve drinks, disappear. Zara pushed away from the column, lifted her tray, wove through clusters of guests discussing summer homes and market portfolios. Head down, invisible. Then someone stepped into her path. She looked up. Marcus stood 2 feet away, champagne flute halfway to his lips. Their eyes met. Time fractured. His glass tilted, champagne threatening to spill. Her tray trembled, crystal singing against crystal. His face cycled through expressions too fast to name. Shock, recognition, pain. Something that looked like drowning. "Marcus?" Her voice came out broken. "Darling, there you are." Vanessa materialized at his elbow, looping her arm through his with practiced possession. Her gaze flicked to Zara, cold, dismissive, the way you'd glance at a stain on the carpet. "The Hendersons want to say hello." She steered him away. Zara stood frozen, champagne flutes trembling on her tray, watching Marcus disappear into the crowd without looking back. The tray trembled. Champagne flutes clinked together, the sound distant beneath the rushing in Zara's ears. Marcus and Vanessa. Her, Marcus. The man whose child asked about him every single night before bed. The man whose photograph she'd hidden in her jewelry box because seeing his face hurt too much. "Miss?" A guest held out an empty glass. Zara's training kicked in. She smiled, traded the empty for a full flute, moved through the crowd toward the service hallway. Professional, invisible, exactly what she'd always been to people like this. The metal door closed behind her. She pressed her back against the concrete wall, dragging air into her lungs. She couldn't do this. Every second in that ballroom was a knife sliding between her ribs, but Elijah's sneakers had holes worn through the soles. The electric company's final notice was magnetic clipped to her refrigerator. Her bank account had $37 until next Friday. $320. She repeated it like a prayer. $320. She straightened her white shirt, tucked a loose strand of hair behind her ear, and pushed back through the doors. The ballroom swallowed her again. She became part of the background, the moving hands that kept glasses full, plates circulating, the machinery of luxury humming along. 4 years ago, she'd been 24, and stupid enough to believe love conquered everything. Late October. The pregnancy test's double pink lines had sent her spiraling between terror and joy. She was barely making rent, juggling 3 part-time jobs, but they were engaged. Marcus loved her. They'd figure it out together. She'd decided to tell him after his Harvard graduation. Let him have his moment first, then they'd plan their future. But Catherine Whitfield found the test before Zara could say anything. The diner's breakfast rush had just ended when Marcus's mother walked in, cashmere coat and pearl earrings among the cracked vinyl booths. She'd slid into a corner table, ordered nothing, and waited until Zara's shift ended. "Sit down, Miss Bennett." Catherine's voice had been glacier cold, no pretense of warmth. "You're pregnant with my son's child." Zara's mouth had gone dry. I was going to tell him after you trapped him completely? Catherine opened her purse, extracted a check. Marcus has a future. Harvard MBA. His father's company. Everything he's worked for his entire life. A baby now would destroy all of that. The check sat between them on the table. $15,000. Handle the situation. Disappear quietly. Let my son have the life he deserves. Zara had wanted to throw it back in her face. Wanted to tell this cold woman that Marcus loved her, that they'd chosen each other. But she had no health insurance. Her savings account held $200. Prenatal care, delivery, baby supplies. The numbers spun through her head like a slot machine landing on bankruptcy. I'm keeping the baby. Then keep it away from Marcus. Catherine stood, adjusted her coat. Take the money or don't. But if you contact my son again, I'll make sure every door in this city closes in your face. I have that power, Miss Bennett. Don't test me. Zara had taken the check, hated herself for it, but took it anyway. She'd used it for the obstetrician, for prenatal vitamins, for the deposit on a safer apartment. Told herself it was temporary, just until she got stable enough to tell Marcus everything. But when she'd called his number 3 days later, blocked. She'd gone to his apartment building. The doorman had stopped her in the lobby, apologetic but firm. Mr. Whitfield left instructions. You're not to be admitted, miss. She'd tried email. No response. Then the text came from Marcus's number. I know what my mother offered you. I can't believe you took it. We're done. Don't contact me again. The words had shattered something fundamental inside her. He knew about the baby, knew about the money, and he was done. She'd returned every cent by certified check and disappeared into her pregnancy alone. What she'd never known, what she couldn't have known, was that Vanessa Crane had befriended Catherine Whitfield months earlier, that Vanessa had intercepted Zara's calls, blocked her emails, sent that final text from a spoofed number, that Marcus had never known about the baby at all. Appetizers for the head table. Maria thrust a silver tray into Zara's hands. Bacon-wrapped figs, prosciutto roses, tiny pastries that cost more than Zara's weekly grocery budget. Now, please. Zara's feet carried her forward. The head table sat on a raised platform, Marcus and Vanessa at its center like royalty on display. She set the tray down, eyes locked on the white tablecloth. Zara. His voice hit her like a physical blow, quiet, strained, full of something she couldn't name. She had to look up. Professional courtesy demanded it. His eyes were exactly as she remembered, that particular shade of blue-gray that Elijah had inherited, but now they were pained, searching her face like he was trying to solve an equation that didn't add up. Do you two know each other? Vanessa's voice cut between them, sharp as surgical steel. Marcus hesitated, the silence stretched. Zara pulled her dignity around herself like armor. We met once, years ago. Congratulations on your wedding, Mr. Whitfield. She turned to leave. How lovely that even the help can appreciate a fairy tale ending. Vanessa's words dripped honey and venom in equal measure, though I suppose some people are meant to serve, while others are meant to be served. Zara's hand spasmed on the tray. The silver bit into her palm. She kept walking. Shoulders back, chin up, every step measured and professional, even as humiliation burned through her veins like poison. Behind her, Marcus's voice. Vanessa, that was... What? True? Zara pushed through the service doors and didn't look back. The service hallway closed around her. Zara leaned against cold tile, willing her pulse to slow. Her phone vibrated. Rita's name lit the screen. Honey, I'm so sorry. The words landed like stones. Zara already knew what came next. Knew it in the way her mother's voice cracked. Knew it before Rita said fever. Before she said 103. Before she said flu. I can't watch Elijah tonight. I don't want to get him sick. Zara closed her eyes. 3 hours left. She scrolled through her contacts with shaking fingers. Mrs. Chen downstairs didn't answer. Shanice was pulling overnight at Memorial. Everyone else was either working or unreliable or both. The electric bill flashed through her mind. Elijah's shoes with the sole peeling off. The grocery money. She couldn't leave. Can you bring him here? The words came out steadier than she felt. There's a manager's office behind the kitchen. He can sleep there until midnight. 20 minutes later, Rita appeared through the service entrance, looking gray beneath her brown skin. Elijah drowsed against her shoulder in his dinosaur pajamas, Rexy tucked under one arm. Baby, I'm so sorry. Just go home, take care of yourself. Zara lifted Elijah into her arms, breathing in his shampooed hair smell. He stirred, blinking. Mama. Shh. Adventure time. Maria gave her permission with obvious reluctance. eyeing Elijah. "He stays invisible, Bennett, I mean it." The office was cramped. Desk, filing cabinet, one worn chair. Zara fashioned a bed from her jacket and clean tablecloths, settling Elijah onto the makeshift pallet. "Is this where the fancy party is?" He peered toward the door, suddenly more awake. "Nearby. Does Daddy live in a place like this?" Her throat closed. She'd shown him exactly one photograph, Marcus laughing at some corporate event. Handsome in his suit, built a father from stories and careful omissions. "Maybe, but you need to sleep now." She set up his iPad with headphones, kissed his forehead 3 times like always. "Love you to the moon. And to the dinosaurs," he finished, already absorbed in his cartoon. Back in the ballroom, speeches had begun. Vanessa's maid of honor, platinum blonde in champagne silk, raised her glass. Vanessa saved Marcus from a past mistake and showed him what real love looks like. Polite applause. Zara moved between tables collecting appetizer plates, catching Marcus's expression. Uncomfortable, trapped. Tom Whitfield's toast was briefer. Happy to gain a daughter. His eyes never left his watch. Then Marcus stood. Vanessa's elegance, her support through difficult transitions, her commitment to building something meaningful. Beautiful words. Empty ones. He never said love. Zara cleared glassware during the first dance, trying not to watch Marcus hold Vanessa, the way his hand rested at her waist, polite, distant, nothing like how he'd once held her, like she was precious and breakable, and entirely his. At 10:15, she slipped back to check on Elijah. He sat upright, Rexy abandoned beside him. "This is boring, Mama. Just 90 more minutes. Then pancakes tomorrow, I promise." His lower lip pushed out, but he nodded. She returned to find dancing in full swing, guests loosened by champagne. 2 older women lingered near the dessert table as Zara approached with her clearing tray. "He doesn't look happy, does he? After that other girl broke his heart. I'm not sure he's capable." "The catering girl." Zara's hands froze on a plate. "Apparently she took money from Catherine and vanished. Gold digger through and through." The china rattled. Zara forced herself to stack it, smooth and professional, her face a careful blank, invisible as always. Maria squeezed her shoulder. "Office behind the prep station. Make him comfortable." The space was barely bigger than a closet. Filing cabinets, a desk buried in paperwork, one rolling chair. Zara spread her jacket on the floor, added folded tablecloths for padding. Not a real bed, but Elijah had slept in worse places during double shifts. "It's an adventure," she whispered, tucking Rexy beside him. "Like camping." Elijah's eyes were already drooping. "Is this where the fancy party is?" "Yes, baby. Does Daddy live in a place like this?" Her throat closed. She'd been so careful with her stories. Daddy loved him very much. Daddy was far away. Daddy didn't know how special Elijah was, because sometimes grown-ups made mistakes. Never lies, exactly. Just truth shaped into something a 4-year-old could hold without bleeding. "Go to sleep, I'll check on you soon." She kissed his forehead, handed him the iPad with headphones and slipped back into the chaos. The ballroom had shifted into its final act. Dinner plates cleared, champagne flowing freely, inhibitions loosening with each glass. The dance floor swirled with movement and laughter. Zara moved through it like a ghost. She cleared abandoned wine glasses, dodged tipsy guests, kept her face blank when she had to pass near Marcus's table. He wasn't there. Standing by the windows instead, tie loosened, looking anywhere but at his bride. Near the gift table, 2 women in expensive dresses spoke just loud enough. "He doesn't look happy, does he? Well, after that other girl broke his heart, I'm not sure he's capable of trusting again." Zara's hands tightened on her tray. "The catering girl?" "Yes. Apparently she took money from Catherine and vanished. Gold digger." The words hit like fists. Zara kept walking, kept breathing, kept her spine straight. She'd returned every cent. They didn't know that. They'd never know. No one saw people like her clearly enough to learn the truth. She checked her watch. 10:37, less than 90 minutes. Then pancakes. Then home. Then this night could become another scar she didn't talk about. She headed toward the kitchen to check on Elijah, already counting down the minutes until she could leave this beautiful, terrible place and never look back. Elijah lasted another 6 minutes. He'd tried. He really had. But the music kept getting louder, seeping under the office door like a promise. It sounded magical, like the princess movies Grandma Rita let him watch, like birthday parties he saw other kids having at school. The iPad was boring. He'd watched these dinosaur videos 100 times. He clutched Rexy and cracked the door open. The kitchen bustled with motion, people rushing, plates clattering, someone shouting about coffee service. Nobody looked toward the office. Elijah slipped out. The hallway stretched ahead following the music. His bare feet made no sound on the tile. The ballroom doors stood slightly open, light spilling through the gap. He pushed through. The sight stole his breath. Lights sparkled everywhere like stars. Ladies wore dresses that swished when they moved. Men in fancy suits like the princes in his storybooks. A huge cake taller than him, covered in flowers. Elijah wandered forward, eyes wide, searching for Mama. But then he saw something else. A tall man standing by big windows. Dark hair, strong shoulders, the fancy suit. The same face from the picture Mama kept hidden in her jewelry box. The one Elijah had found last week when he was looking for the bracelet he made her at school. The picture she didn't know he'd seen. The picture she'd looked at once when she thought he was sleeping, touching the man's face and whispering, "I'm sorry, Daddy." His heart exploded with joy. Mama said Daddy was far away, but he was here, right here at the fancy party. Elijah ran. He dodged between dancing people, Rexy flying behind him, his voice bright with happiness cutting through the music. "Daddy! Daddy!" Conversations stuttered. Heads turned. The band played on, but dancers slowed, staring. Marcus turned, confusion crossing his features. Elijah crashed into his legs, wrapped arms tight around his knees. Looked up with absolute certainty. "You're here. Mama said you were far away, but you're here." Marcus stared down. The world tilted. Grey-blue eyes met identical grey-blue eyes. The same cleft chin, the same slightly crooked smile. Looking at this child was looking into a mirror that reflected backward through time. The ballroom fell silent, except for a waltz nobody was dancing to anymore. Vanessa's champagne flute slipped from her fingers, shattering on marble. Tom Whitfield stood slowly at his table, hand pressed to his chest. From the service entrance, a tray hit the floor with a crash that made everyone jump. Zara ran forward, her face crumbling. "Elijah! No, baby. Come here." But Elijah held tighter, words tumbling out in a rush of 4-year-old joy. "I knew you'd come. I prayed and prayed every night. Are you going to come home with us now? Mama cries sometimes, and I think it's 'cause she misses you and I miss you too, even though I never met you. But Mama showed me your picture and said, 'Zara.'" Marcus's voice cut through. Barely a whisper, but the ballroom was so quiet it carried to every corner. His eyes found hers across 10 feet that felt like miles. Is he mine?" The ballroom erupted. 200 voices rose at once, shocked gasps, delighted whispers, scandalized murmurs, creating a wave of sound that crashed over everything. Zara had Elijah in her arms, backing toward the service entrance, words tumbling out in a desperate stream. "I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, he wasn't supposed to. He was in the office, I didn't. Get her out of here." Vanessa's voice sliced through the chaos like a blade. Her face had gone from white to crimson, her carefully applied makeup suddenly garish against her rage. Maria appeared at Zara's elbow, gripping her arm. "Come on, now." Marcus stood frozen, his mind unable to process what had just happened. The boy's face, those eyes, his eyes. The timeline spun through his head on autopilot. 4 years. Elijah looked about 4 years old. "Son." Tom's hand clamped on his arm. Marcus turned to find his father staring at him with an intensity he'd never seen before. "Did you see that boy's face?" Marcus managed a nod. "Tell me you don't know what this is about." Vanessa was suddenly there, her manicured nails digging into his other arm. "Tell me this is some insane mistake, some delusional woman with a child who happens to—" "I don't know," Marcus said. But he did know. Somewhere deep in his chest he knew. Maria dragged Zara through the kitchen, past the staring staff, into the manager's office, where this nightmare had started. "What were you thinking bringing a child here?" Maria's voice shook. "Do you have any idea what you've just done? The hotel is going to sue us. I'm going to lose this contract. You're fired, Zara. I'm sorry, but you're done. Get your things and leave. Now." "I didn't. He was supposed to stay here. I didn't have anyone else. I don't care." Maria pressed her hands to her temples. "Just go, before they call security." Elijah squirmed in Zara's arms, his earlier joy fading into confusion. "Mama, why is everyone mad? Did I do something wrong?" "No, baby. No." She kissed his forehead, tasting her own tears. "You didn't do anything wrong. Was that not Daddy?" The question broke something in her chest. She grabbed their bag, stumbling toward the exit with Elijah clinging to her neck. In the ballroom, the whispers had become a roar. Vanessa was at the center of a cluster of her bridesmaids, her voice rising. "I want to know what's going on. Right now, Marcus, explain this." But Tom pulled him aside first, his gruff voice low and urgent. "We need to talk, now. That child is your son. I'd stake my life on it." "She never told me." Marcus's voice cracked. "She just left. Took my mother's money and left." Tom's expression shifted. Something harder, more knowing. Maybe there's more to the story. The parking garage smelled of oil and exhaust. Fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, casting everything in harsh white. Zara stood beside the Honda, one hand on the doorframe. Inside, Elijah pressed his face against the window, eyes drooping with exhaustion. She positioned herself between the car and Marcus, every muscle coiled tight. He stopped 10 feet away, close enough to see her tears, far enough to give her space. "Is he mine?" His voice cracked on the last word. Zara's throat closed. She managed one word. "Yes." Marcus's knees buckled. He caught himself against a concrete pillar, fingers scraping against the rough surface. 4 years. 4 years of believing she'd chosen money over him. 4 years of that child, his son, growing up without him. "Why didn't you tell me?" The words came out strangled. "Why did you take my mother's money and just disappear?" "I didn't want her money." Zara's voice was barely audible. "I took it for prenatal care. That's all. I sent back every penny 2 weeks later, certified check. I tried calling you. Blocked. I went to your apartment. The doorman turned me away. I sent emails. Nothing." Her hands shook. "Then I got a text from your number. It said you knew about the money and I should never contact you again." Marcus pushed off the pillar. "I never sent that." "What?" "I never sent any text. I never blocked you." His voice rose, desperate. "When you disappeared, my mother told me you'd met someone else, that you didn't want me anymore. I was—" He pressed his palms against his eyes. "I was destroyed, but I didn't fight. I should have fought for you, for us, but I just accepted it." Zara stared at him. "Your mother came to the diner where I worked. She knew about the pregnancy before I could tell you. She offered me $15,000 to handle the situation and stay away from you." Marcus went pale. "My mother died 2 years ago. Stroke. I never knew—" His voice broke. "God, I never knew any of this." Behind them, footsteps echoed across concrete. Tom Whitfield emerged from the stairwell, taking in the scene with sharp eyes. Marcus sat in the pre-dawn silence of his penthouse, still wearing his tuxedo pants and wrinkled dress shirt. The bow tie lay discarded on the marble floor somewhere between the door and the windows. Beyond the glass, the city was just starting to wake, delivery trucks rumbling, early commuters shuffling toward the subway. He had a son. The thought kept circling back, collision after collision with reality. 4 years old, named Elijah. With his eyes, his chin, his smile. 4 years he'd missed. First words, first steps, birthdays, scraped knees, bedtime stories. His phone sat face down on the coffee table, darkened after the barrage finally stopped around 3 in the morning. 17 messages from Vanessa. He hadn't read a single one. The anger surprised him most, not at Zara, but at himself, at how easily he'd accepted his mother's explanation 4 years ago, how quickly he'd given up, how he'd let Vanessa fill the empty space Zara left, not because he loved her, but because it was easier than being alone with his grief. He'd sleepwalked into an entire engagement. Keys rattled in the lock at 8 sharp. Marcus didn't turn from the window. "Figured you'd still be up." Tom set 2 coffee cups and a paper bag on the dining table. The older man looked tired but alert, construction site ready even on a Saturday in worn jeans and a flannel shirt. "Didn't go back, did you?" "No." "Good." Tom settled into the chair across from where Marcus finally turned to join him. The bagels sat between them, still warm. Neither man reached for food. "I was a terrible father." Marcus blinked at the abrupt confession. "Always working, building the business, chasing the next contract, the next development." Tom's jaw worked. "Left your mother to raise you. Told myself I was providing, giving you opportunities I never had. Truth is, I was hiding. Work was easier than being present." "Dad, let me finish." Tom's voice roughened. "I see you making the same mistakes. Drifting through life according to everyone else's expectations. Your mother's, Vanessa's, mine. That boy in the parking garage last night, the way he looked at you." Marcus's throat tightened. "That's what matters. Not business deals. Not what people think. Being there." Tom met his son's eyes. "I learned too late. Don't you learn too late, too?" Marcus stood on the cracked sidewalk outside a 3-story walk-up, the gift bag heavy in his hands. Cars lined both sides of the narrow street, some sporting oxidized paint and expired inspection stickers. A corner bodega displayed wilting flowers in plastic buckets. Children's chalk drawings decorated the pavement near the entrance. He pressed the buzzer marked 3B. Static crackled. "Marcus," Zara's voice carried uncertainty, maybe fear. "It's me. Can I come up?" Silence stretched. He counted his own heartbeats. "Okay." The door buzzed. Marcus climbed stairs that creaked under worn carpet, past cooking smells and muffled television voices. His chest tightened with each step, not from exertion, but from the weight of what he'd missed. 4 years of Zara navigating these stairs pregnant, then carrying groceries, then carrying a growing boy. She opened the door before he knocked. Jeans and a cream sweater, hair pulled back in a simple ponytail. No makeup. She'd always been beautiful, but this, her real unguarded self, made his breath catch. Hi. She stepped aside. "Come in." The apartment was tiny. Living room, kitchen, single hallway, leading presumably to bedrooms. But every surface gleamed. Children's artwork covered the fridge with alphabet magnets. Library books stacked neatly on a coffee table that had seen better decades. A worn couch draped with a colorful throw blanket. Elijah sat on a rug patterned with roads and buildings. Dinosaur figures arranged in careful formations. He looked up, eyes wide. Marcus's throat closed. "Hey, Elijah." The boy didn't answer, suddenly shy. Marcus lowered himself to the floor slowly, keeping distance between them. Set the gift bag aside. "I heard you really like dinosaurs." Elijah nodded. "Me too. When I was little, my favorite was the Triceratops." Marcus pulled the plush Brachiosaurus from the bag. "But I thought you might like this one. Brachiosaurus, they were the tallest, could eat from trees nobody else could reach." Elijah's eyes lit up. He crawled forward, stopped just short of touching it. "You can have him. I brought him for you." Small hands reached out, grabbed the toy, pulled it close. Elijah studied Marcus's face with unsettling intensity. "Mama said you were far away." "I was. But I'm here now. Are you staying?" Marcus glanced at Zara, who'd frozen near the kitchen counter. "I'd like to, if that's okay with you." Elijah considered this with 4-year-old gravity. Then he pushed a T-Rex across the rug toward Marcus. "Okay, you can be the T-Rex." The apartment settled into stillness. Zara poured coffee into mismatched mugs. Hers chipped at the rim, his a faded souvenir from a beach town she'd never visited. They sat on opposite ends of the sagging couch, a careful distance between them. Marcus wrapped both hands around the mug. Vanessa orchestrated everything. Zara's fingers tightened on her coffee. "She befriended my mother while I was finishing school. When Mom found out you were pregnant..." He stopped, jaw working. "Vanessa convinced her you'd trap me, derail everything. After you disappeared, she was there, persistent, supportive." The word came out bitter. "She intercepted every call, every email, sent that text from my number telling you to stay away." "Why?" "She wanted what you had." Marcus looked at her directly. "Me, the life, the position. She saw an opportunity and took it." Zara set down her mug before her shaking hands betrayed her. "Your mother came to the diner where I worked breakfast shift, told me a baby would ruin your future." Her voice dropped. "She wasn't wrong. You had Harvard, your father's company waiting. I had 2 jobs and an eviction notice. You should have told me." "I tried." The words cracked. "I took the money for prenatal vitamins, first trimester checkups. Returned every cent 2 weeks later. Called your number, blocked. Went to your apartment, doorman turned me away. Then that text came." She met his eyes. "It said you knew about the money and never wanted to see me again. What was I supposed to think?" Marcus's face crumpled. "I fell apart after you left. Barely graduated. Threw myself into development projects. 18-hour days. Vanessa was always there with coffee, sympathy, my mother's approval." He laughed without humor. "I sleepwalked into that engagement because I'd convinced myself love was a lie anyway. I worked until I went into labor." Zara's voice steadied into something harder. 37 weeks pregnant, catering a retirement party. Water broke while I was serving cake. Rita drove me to the hospital, stayed 3 days because I had nobody else." She paused. "I named him Elijah Marcus Bennett. Couldn't give him your last name, but I gave him your name." Marcus's breath hitched. "I told him stories. That daddy loved him but was far away, working hard, thinking about him every day." Tears tracked down her cheeks. "I couldn't poison him against you. Couldn't bear it. Why did you come back to the city? Rita got sick 8 months ago. Pneumonia, complications. She needed help. Zara wiped her face. I moved back, found work, got us stable again. The refrigerator hummed. Sirens wailed distant. What happens now? Marcus shifted closer, the couch springs creaking. I want to be part of Elijah's life, fully. Not weekend visits, not occasional appearances. We'll figure out co-parenting. And us? His voice roughened. Is there any chance? Marcus, she cut him off. You were getting married yesterday. 24 hours ago. I can't. Her composure fractured. It's too much. I never stopped loving you. The confession spilled raw. Even believing you'd betrayed me, I never stopped. I never stopped either. Zara met his eyes. But love wasn't enough 4 years ago. I don't know if it's enough now. They drifted together without noticing, no longer separated by cushions. Marcus reached out, tucked hair behind her ear, the gesture achingly familiar, their faces inches apart. Zara's hand pressed gentle against his chest. Not yet. We can't. Monday morning, 7:48 a.m. Marcus arrived carrying grocery bags stuffed with pancake mix, chocolate chips, strawberries, and real maple syrup, the expensive kind in the glass bottle. Elijah launched himself at Marcus's legs. You came back! I promised, didn't I? Zara stood in the kitchen doorway, hair still damp from the shower, watching Marcus crouch down to Elijah's level, listening seriously as her son explained the complex hierarchy of his dinosaur collection. Something loosened in her chest. I'll get him ready for preschool. She moved past Marcus, close enough to smell his cologne. The kitchen's all yours. Over the next week, a rhythm emerged, fragile but real. Marcus arrived for breakfast each morning, learning that Elijah required chocolate milk in the blue cup, never the red. He drove them to Little Explorers Preschool, despite it being 20 minutes opposite his downtown office. Zara knew this, said nothing. The bus commute had been brutal. Wednesday brought parent-teacher night. Mrs. Rodriguez shook Marcus's hand. Mr. Whitfield, we're so glad you could finally join us. Elijah talks about you constantly. She pulled out a drawing. Stick figures labeled Mama, Daddy, Me. He made this yesterday. First time he's drawn his whole family. Marcus gripped the paper, throat working. Thursday, Rita arrived with Tupperware containers of soup, eyeing Marcus like a hostile witness. She softened incrementally throughout dinner, watching him cut Elijah's chicken into small pieces, wipe his face without being asked, know exactly which vegetables he'd refuse. He's good with him, Rita admitted quietly to Zara, while Marcus read bedtime stories in the other room. I know. Doesn't mean he won't leave. I know that too. But by Saturday, Marcus had essentially colonized Zara's small apartment. Spare shirts hung in her closet. His razor sat beside her toothbrush. He slept on the couch, officially, though Zara heard him moving around at dawn, trying not to wake them. Sunday evening, they washed dishes while Elijah slept. The radio played something old and slow. Their hands touched over a plate. Neither pulled away. Marcus turned, soap bubbles sliding down his forearms. Zara's pulse hammered. The week had eroded her carefully maintained distance, watching him father their son, feeling his presence in her space, catching him researching tips for first-time dads on his phone. He set down the plate. Zara, she kissed him before logic could intervene. Tentative became desperate. 4 years of longing compressed into that contact. They broke apart, breathing hard. This is a terrible idea, Zara whispered. Probably. We should take things slow. Absolutely. She kissed him again, slower this time. They moved to the couch, relearning each other's contours, falling asleep, tangled together like they used to. Finally, home. Monday morning light slanted through the windows, catching dust motes suspended in golden air. Zara woke slowly, warm and comfortable in a way she couldn't quite place. Then awareness hit, the weight of an arm across her waist, the steady breathing against her neck, the solid presence wrapped around her from behind. Marcus. The couch, last night. She turned carefully in his arms. He was still asleep, face relaxed in a way she'd never seen during their week together. Younger, somehow. Peaceful. Daddy? Why are you sleeping on Mama? They sprang apart like teenagers caught by parents. Marcus nearly rolled off the couch. Zara's hand flew to her mouth. Elijah stood 3 feet away in his dinosaur pajamas, Rexy dangling from one hand. He looked curious, but not distressed, head tilted like a puppy trying to understand. Marcus recovered first. Mama and I were watching a movie and fell asleep. Sorry, buddy. Elijah considered this, then shrugged. Can we have waffles? Zara exhaled. Waffles. Yes. Go brush your teeth first. As Elijah padded toward the bathroom, Marcus caught her hand. Their eyes met and suddenly they were both fighting laughter. Silent, shoulders shaking, ridiculous. That was close, Marcus whispered. Too close. But neither moved apart. That week, they let themselves be happy. They remained cautious around Elijah. No overt affection, keeping the couch sleepovers secret. But when he was at preschool or sleeping, they made up for lost time. Wednesday evening, Rita agreed to babysit with theatrical reluctance. I'm watching you, Marcus Whitfield. You hurt my daughter again and money won't protect you. Yes, ma'am. They chose a small Italian restaurant in a neighborhood where Marcus's social circle would never venture. Candlelight flickered across checkered tablecloths. No one stared or whispered. They were anonymous, just a couple on a date. I forgot how you do that thing with your hands when you talk. Marcus watched her describe her dream catering business, fingers painting pictures in the air. Like you're shaping the words. I forgot how you actually listen. Zara's throat tightened. Most people just wait for their turn to talk. Sunday night, 10:47 p.m. Zara wore a path in the thin carpet between the couch and the kitchen, phone clutched in her hand. The legal document glowed on the screen, cold official language that reduced her life to bullet points of inadequacy. Unfit parent, financial instability, child welfare concerns. Marcus paced the opposite direction, phone pressed to his ear. I understand, Bill. Yes, emergency motion, but what are the actual grounds? He listened, jaw tightening. Right, okay. I'll call you first thing tomorrow. He hung up, turned to Zara. This is baseless. Any judge will see that. You're an excellent mother. We'll fight this. The words were meant to comfort. Instead, they landed like stones. You don't understand. Zara's voice came out flat, dead. You think judges care about excellent. They care about bank accounts, square footage, stability on paper. Then we show them what, Marcus? That I work 3 jobs to make rent? That I brought my son to a catering event in a hotel storage room? That my apartment has 1 bathroom and walls so thin we can hear our neighbors fighting? None of that makes you unfit. It makes me poor. The word ripped out of her. And poor always loses. You know it does. Marcus reached for her. She stepped back. Zara, I'm not trying to take him. We fight this together. Vanessa's lashing out, but she's not wrong, is she? Zara's laugh was bitter, broken. I do work multiple jobs. I did bring Elijah to a workplace. My apartment is too small. On paper, you're the better option. I don't want to be an option. I want to be your partner. Easy to say when you're the one with resources, lawyers, connections. Marcus's face flushed. So now, I'm the enemy, because I have money. I didn't say that. You're saying I don't understand what it's like to be powerless. Fine, you're right. But you're doing exactly what you accuse me of, assuming I can't understand, won't listen, don't care enough to try. They stood on opposite sides of her small living room, the space between them vast. That's not fair, Zara's voice cracked. Neither is this. Marcus gestured at the air between them. The second things get hard. You're pushing me away. Again. I never pushed you away the first time, but you're doing it now. Silence fell, heavy and suffocating. Zara sank onto the couch, buried her face in her hands. Marcus sat beside her after a moment, careful not to touch. I'm scared too, of losing him, of losing you. But I can't fight for us if you won't let me. I don't know how. The admission was barely a whisper. They sat in the wreckage of their almost perfect week, neither knowing how to bridge back. Tuesday afternoon. Marcus stood in the hallway outside apartment 3B, hands in his pockets. The door opened. Zara stepped out with Elijah's backpack, handed it over without meeting his eyes. He had crackers at 3. He'll probably want dinner by 6. Got it. Elijah appeared behind her, face brightening when he saw Marcus. Daddy. Hey, buddy. Ready to go? The boy glanced between his parents, smile fading. Is Mama coming? Not today. Just us. Elijah's lower lip trembled. Why? Marcus crouched down, forced lightness into his voice. Mama's tired. We're going to get ice cream, okay? Just you and me. But I want Mama to come. Zara's hand tightened on the doorframe. Baby, go with Daddy. I'll see you at bedtime. The boy went, but he looked back twice before they reached the stairs. Wednesday night, Zara jolted awake to crying. She stumbled into Elijah's room, found him sitting up in bed, tears streaming. Shh, baby, I'm here. I want Daddy. The words cut through her. She pulled him close, rocking him. Daddy's at his house, sweetheart. Why doesn't he stay anymore? It's complicated. Elijah sobbed harder. Zara reached for her phone with shaking hands. Elijah had a nightmare. He's asking for you. The response came in seconds. Calling now. Her phone rang. She put it on speaker. Hey, Elijah, it's Daddy. The crying stopped. Daddy? I'm right here, buddy. Tell me about your dream. Marcus's voice, gentle and steady, talked their son through the fear. Explained that nightmares weren't real, that both Mama and Daddy loved him, that he was safe. After 10 minutes, Elijah's breathing evened out. Better now? Yeah. Good. Sleep tight, okay? I'll see you tomorrow. After Elijah drifted off, Zara stared at the phone in her hand. Is he okay? Her fingers hovered over the keyboard. Yes. Thank you. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again, always. That single word lodged in her chest, like broken glass. She set the phone down, didn't respond. Thursday evening, Tom found Marcus at a downtown hotel, tie loosened, Chinese takeout containers littering the desk. You look like hell. Thanks, Dad. Tom settled into the chair by the window. You can't fix this by sitting here drowning in Kung Pao chicken. I don't know how to fix it at all. Marcus dropped his head into his hands. She won't let me in. Can't force trust, son. Then what do I do? Tom was quiet for a long moment. When your mother was pregnant with you, we were broke. I was doing day labor construction, barely keeping the lights on. Her parents offered help, money, connections, a place to live, but only if I proved myself worthy first. Marcus looked up. I refused. Stupid pride. Insisted on doing everything myself. Tom's voice roughened. We nearly lost everything. The apartment, the food. Damn near lost you before you were born. Your mother finally made me see that accepting help wasn't weakness. It was partnership. That's what marriage was. Zara and I aren't married, but you want to be a family. Tom leaned forward. Show her you're not going anywhere, even when she pushes, especially when she pushes. Friday morning, Marcus arrived at the apartment early. Zara opened the door and his chest tightened. Dark circles shadowed her eyes. Her hair was barely brushed. Elijah ran out, but his usual enthusiasm was muted. Marcus couldn't take it anymore. Zara, please, can we talk? Really talk? She sagged against the doorframe. I don't know what to say. Then just listen. Friday afternoon, 1:34 p.m. Zara perched on the edge of a leather chair in Diane Chen's downtown office, studying the papers spread before her. Floor-to-ceiling windows framed the city skyline behind the lawyer's desk, everything sleek glass and chrome, a world away from Zara's cramped apartment. Walk me through it again, Zara said, voice tight. Diane leaned forward, patient. Joint legal custody. You maintain primary residential custody. Elijah lives with you. Marcus gets standard visitation, but there's flexibility built in for your family dynamic. She slid another document across the desk. Child support, substantially above state guidelines. Health insurance, full coverage, dental, vision, and this, she tapped a separate folder, is a college fund, fully funded. Elijah's education is secured. Zara's hands trembled as she reached for the college fund paperwork. The number made her dizzy. There's one more thing. Diane hesitated. A trust, established in your name. What? Marcus wanted you to have financial security, enough to cover 5 years of living expenses if you want to pursue education, start a business, or reduce your work hours to spend more time with Elijah. The room tilted. Zara gripped the chair arms. I can't accept that. Miss Bennett, it's too much. I can't be bought. Diane's expression softened. I've practiced family law for 20 years. I've seen every variation of custody battle. Men with Marcus's resources typically weaponize them, fight for primary custody to minimize support obligations, hire investigators to document every parenting mistake. She gestured at the documents. Marcus has done the opposite. He's protected your position as Elijah's primary parent, added a clause preventing him from pursuing custody changes without your consent, except in cases of genuine endangerment. This isn't about buying you. It's about acknowledging you've carried this alone for 4 years. Zara's vision blurred. What does he get out of this? Diane smiled. Time with his son. And if I'm reading between the lines correctly, he's hoping you'll choose to build a family together. Not because papers require it, but because you want to. The words settled in Zara's chest, heavy and warm. She read through the documents again, slower this time. Every clause careful, protective. Supporting without controlling. Partnership, not possession. Her phone trembled in her hand as she dialed. Zara! Marcus's voice came through immediately, breathless with hope. Can you come to Diane's office? I'm downstairs. Of course he was. Waiting. Hoping. 20 minutes later, they sat across from each other in the conference room. Marcus's hands flat on the table, not reaching for her, giving her space. I'm sorry, Zara whispered, for pushing you away, for not trusting you. You had every reason. No, she met his eyes. I let fear make my decisions. Almost lost you both. Marcus's jaw tightened. You're not going to lose us. Monday morning arrived with rain hammering the windows of Diane Chen's conference room. Zara watched water stream down the glass, while Marcus paced behind her chair, restless energy crackling off him. Diane set down her phone, expression grim. Vanessa's lawyer just sent terms. She'll withdraw the custody petition for $500,000, compensation for emotional distress and reputational damage from the cancelled wedding. Marcus stopped pacing. That's insane. That's blackmail, Zara said, flat and cold. She orchestrated our separation, manipulated him for years, and now wants $500,000 for getting caught. Diane nodded. If you don't pay, she's promising to drag the custody case through every court possible. Make it ugly, public, expensive. I'll pay it. Marcus moved toward the table. Write the check, I just want her gone. No, Zara stood, blood rushing hot through her veins. You're not giving her a single cent for what she did to us. Zara, if it ends this, it won't end it. She turned on him, 4 years of fear transforming into fury. Don't you see? Pay her now, she'll come back for more. She'll always have leverage. We pay, we're admitting fault. Diane cleared her throat. Ms. Bennett is right. Payment sets a dangerous precedent. And we have options. She pulled files from her briefcase. Marcus's phone records prove that text 4 years ago didn't originate from his device. We have the returned check proving Zara didn't keep Catherine's money. I've spoken with the doorman at Marcus's building. He remembers Vanessa visiting frequently during the period when Marcus's calls to Zara were being blocked. She had opportunity and motive. Marcus sank into a chair. You want to countersue for fraud, intentional infliction of emotional distress and harassment. It won't be pleasant, but you'll win. The room fell silent, except for rain against glass. Zara reached for Marcus's hand. We fight. Together. His fingers tightened around hers. Together. By Wednesday afternoon, Vanessa's lawyer called back. The custody petition was withdrawn, the payment demand rescinded, a binding agreement signed, no contact ever with any of them. It was over. 3 weeks later, mid-December. The new house looked like a cardboard explosion. No, the couch goes there. Tom pointed at the opposite wall, directing movers with the authority of a general. Better sight lines to the TV. We don't have a TV yet, Dad, Marcus called from the kitchen, unwrapping dishes. Well, when you get one. Zara emerged from the hallway carrying an empty box, nearly tripping over Elijah. He'd unpacked his entire toy collection across the living room floor, dinosaurs staging an elaborate battle near the fireplace. Baby, maybe keep the toys in your room until we're settled. But I need to make sure T-Rex likes the house. Elijah held up his favorite toy. He says it's good, lots of space for hunting. Rita appeared from the kitchen, hands on her hips. I found 3 coffee makers. 3. Who needs 3 coffee makers? Marcus and Zara looked at each other, then started laughing. The sound felt good in the new space, already making it theirs. By evening, the movers had gone. The house still looked chaotic, boxes stacked in corners, furniture not quite right, but it was starting to take shape. Elijah's room was finished first, painted dinosaur blue at his insistence, his bed assembled, his nightlight plugged in. This is the best room ever. Elijah flopped onto his bed, arms spread wide. I can hear birds outside my window. Zara sat beside him, brushing hair from his forehead. You like it here? I love it here. We're all together. He said it simply, like it was the most obvious thing in the world. Later, after Elijah fell asleep exhausted from excitement, Zara and Marcus collapsed onto their still plastic-wrapped couch. The living room was half unpacked, but neither had the energy to care. We have a house, Zara said, like she still couldn't quite believe it. We have a home. Marcus pulled her against his side. Over the next few days, they settled into rhythms. Elijah started at his new preschool, coming home with stories about the climbing structure and his new friend Mateo. Zara enrolled in 2 online business classes, staying up late with her laptop while Marcus cleaned up dinner and brought her tea without being asked. Marcus restructured his work schedule, turning down a development project in Boston that would have required months of travel. I missed 4 years, he told his business partner. I'm not missing another day. They learned each other's habits all over again. Marcus was compulsively neat, putting things away immediately. Zara left creative chaos in her wake. Notes scattered across surfaces, half-finished projects everywhere. He was up at 6. She worked best after midnight. They navigated these differences with patience they hadn't possessed at 24 and 26, understanding that love meant accommodation, not surrender. Elijah thrived with the stability. 2 parents at pickup, regular bedtimes, Sunday dinners with both grandparents, Rita and Tom, forming an unlikely friendship over shared concern for the kids. Security wrapped around the child like a blanket, but there were still hard moments. Wednesday evening, a certified letter arrived about the house closing. Zara saw the envelope and froze, all color draining from her face. Her hands shook so badly she couldn't open it. Marcus found her sitting on the floor in the hallway, knees pulled to her chest, breathing too fast. He sat beside her without speaking, just close enough that their shoulders touched, waited while she rode the panic out, didn't try to fix it or minimize it, just stayed. When she could breathe again, she leaned against him. "The custody petition," she whispered. "For a second I thought, I know." They sat there for 20 minutes. Then Zara told him about being 7, watching their electricity get shut off because her mom couldn't make the payment, about being evicted from 2 apartments before she was 10, about the constant background fear that everything could disappear. Marcus listened, understanding finally why she'd fought so hard against accepting help. It wasn't pride. It was muscle memory from a childhood where help never came. By Friday evening, 3 weeks after moving in, the house was starting to feel lived in. Elijah's drawings covered the refrigerator. Zara's business textbooks occupied one end of the dining table. Marcus's work laptop had a permanent spot on the kitchen counter. Their lives were braiding together, 3 separate strands becoming something stronger. After bedtime, Marcus found Zara organizing Christmas decorations in the garage. "I have something to show you." He led her to the backyard, where he'd strung simple white lights around the patio. Nothing elaborate, just light against December darkness. In the center, he'd set up a small table with 2 chairs, a bottle of wine, chocolate-covered strawberries. Zara's breath caught. She knew. They sat, and Marcus took her hand. His was shaking slightly. "4 years ago, I asked you to marry me in a fancy restaurant with a ring I spent too much money on, trying to impress you." His voice was steady despite the nerves. "You said yes, and it was the happiest day of my life until we lost each other." Zara's eyes were already filling. "I'm not that guy anymore. You're not that girl. We've been broken and put ourselves back together." He pulled a small box from his pocket. "We have a son who's the best thing that ever happened to me. We have a home, we have a life, and I want to make it official, not because we have to, but because I choose you. Every day, I choose you." The ring was simple, a single modest diamond, elegant and unpretentious, nothing like the showy piece from 4 years ago. "Zara Bennett, will you marry me? Again? For real this time?" She was nodding before she could speak, tears streaming. "Yes, yes, absolutely yes." He slid the ring onto her finger, and they kissed under the string lights in their backyard. Engaged again, this time built on truth instead of naivete, on choice instead of accident, on the solid foundation of everything they'd survived. When they broke apart, both crying and laughing, Zara held up her hand, watching the simple diamond catch the light. "Small wedding this time," she said. "Just family, whatever you want." Marcus kissed her forehead, her cheeks, her lips again. "As long as I get to marry you." From inside the house they heard Elijah's voice, sleepy and confused. "Mama, Daddy." They looked at each other and smiled. Their son needed them. Their life was calling. Hand in hand, they went inside to their family, their future, their hard-won happiness. The backyard lights glowed behind them, marking the spot where everything became real. The house smelled like brown sugar and cinnamon. Zara stood at the stove, basting a honey-glazed ham while monitoring 3 other pots. Christmas Eve, and she'd been cooking since dawn. Not because anyone expected it, but because this was her gift, creating something beautiful from simple ingredients, filling a home with warmth. Behind her, Marcus sat cross-legged on the living room floor, surrounded by instruction sheets and wooden panels that supposedly formed a play kitchen. He squinted at a diagram showing Tabé inserting into slot B, except nothing matched. "This was designed by sadists," he muttered. "Language." Zara didn't turn from the stove, but he heard the smile in her voice. Elijah bounced past carrying 3 ornaments. "Can I put more on the tree?" "Sure, baby." Marcus watched their son hang decorations in a concentrated cluster at knee height. The bottom third of the tree sparkled like a disco ball, while the top remained bare. Perfect. The doorbell rang. Tom and Rita arrived together, something that still surprised Marcus, seeing his gruff father and Zara's protective mother navigating an unlikely friendship. They'd bonded over grandparenthood and shared frustration at stubborn children who made everything harder than necessary. Rita carried a foil-covered dish. Tom held a toolbox. "Smells amazing in here." Rita kissed Zara's cheek, then eyed the play kitchen parts scattered across the floor. "Lord have mercy." Tom set down his toolbox. "Move aside, son, you're holding the instructions upside down." Marcus looked. He was. Within 20 minutes, Tom had the kitchen assembled. Elijah immediately began cooking invisible meals, narrating elaborate recipes involving dinosaur eggs and chocolate volcanoes. Dinner was chaos. Elijah ate 4 bites, too excited about Santa to focus on food. He asked every 30 seconds if it was time for bed yet, if Santa was coming, if reindeer really flew. "Eat your carrots," Zara said for the 5th time. "But Santa checks for vegetable consumption. It's in the regulations." Elijah's eyes widened. He shoved 3 carrot sticks in his mouth. Rita laughed, sharing a look with Tom that said, "Remember when ours were this young?" Before dessert, Tom cleared his throat. "I'd like to say grace." They joined hands around the table. Tom's voice was rough, unsteady. "Lord, thank you for this food, this home, this family. Thank you for second chances we didn't deserve and grace we couldn't earn. Thank you for bringing my son back to me, for giving me a grandson, for—" His voice cracked. "For letting me be part of this. Amen." Rita squeezed his hand. "Amen." Marcus couldn't speak past the tightness in his throat. Later, after 3 stories and 17 questions about reindeer flight patterns, Elijah finally slept. The house pulsed with life and champagne bubbles. New Year's Eve, and Zara moved through her packed living room with a tray of bacon-wrapped dates, watching Marcus laugh with Tom near the fireplace. Maria caught her arm, pulling her aside. "Girl, these are incredible. You need to add them to your menu." Zara flushed with pleasure. "You really think—" "I know. Trust me. I've been doing this 20 years. Maria squeezed her hand. "And I'm sorry again. For that night. Ancient history. It was. Mostly. The Grand Rose felt like something that happened to different people." Elijah raced past with 2 kids from preschool, shrieking about his dinosaur collection. Rita intercepted them with cookies and stern instructions about inside voices. The normalcy of it struck Zara breathless. This was her life now. Noise and warmth and people who stayed. 10 minutes to midnight, someone called. Marcus appeared at her elbow, sliding an arm around her waist. His friend Jake raised his glass. "So when's the wedding? You two can't live in sin forever with that kid around." Zara felt Marcus tense slightly. They'd discussed this, but hadn't made it public yet. She turned, catching his eye. He nodded. "Valentine's Day, actually." Marcus's voice carried across the suddenly quiet room. "Small ceremony, just family." The cheers made Elijah look up from his cookies, confused but pleased. Tom clapped Marcus on the shoulder hard enough to make him stumble. Rita wiped her eyes with a dish towel. Jake whistled. 6 weeks? That's fast." "We already waited 4 years," Zara said. "Fast is relative." The countdown started. 60, 59, 58. Marcus pulled her close as the room erupted in synchronized shouting. At midnight he kissed her, while their friends cheered and Elijah made exaggerated gagging noises. "Happy New Year," Marcus murmured against her lips. "Happy New everything." January blurred past in a productive chaos Zara had never experienced before. Her business cards arrived first. Simple white with gold script. Zara's catering. Elegant events. Accessible prices. Marcus had wanted fancier, but she'd insisted on approachable. Her clients weren't the Grand Rose crowd. They were people like her. Working families celebrating milestones on budgets that mattered. Her first booking was a 50th birthday party. 40 guests, Mediterranean menu, tight deadline. She worked from her home kitchen, prepping for 3 days straight. Marcus handled Elijah's bedtime routine without complaint, bringing her tea at midnight when he found her still julienning vegetables. "You need sleep. I need this to be perfect." "It will be. You're brilliant." The party was a triumph. The client cried over the lamb, passed out Zara's cards to everyone, left a review that brought 3 more bookings by Monday. By late January, Zara was turning down work. 3 events a week was her limit with Elijah, and the wedding approaching. Maria had started referring overflow to her, a peace offering that had blossomed into genuine friendship. The money helped. Not Marcus-level money, but enough that Zara transferred her first real savings deposit with shaking hands. Independence looked like $400 in an account marked business growth. Small, but hers. Marcus handled her books without taking over, offered advice without mansplaining. They were learning each other's working styles. His methodical organization balanced her creative chaos. Mostly. "You can't just stuff receipts in a drawer," he'd said last week, exasperated. "Watch me." But she'd started using the filing system he'd set up, because partnership meant meeting halfway, even about receipts. Elijah adjusted like children do, quickly, with occasional regression. He'd wake sometimes, panicked, calling for both of them. They'd find him standing between their bedroom and his, uncertain which way to go. Marcus always got there first, scooping him up. "I'm here, buddy. Not going anywhere. Promise. Cross my heart." The co-parenting class helped. Thursday evenings, Rita watched Elijah while they sat in a community center classroom learning conflict resolution and communication strategies. It felt unnecessary until the week they practiced active listening, and Zara realized she'd been interrupting Marcus constantly, steamrolling his quieter processing with her urgency. "I'm sorry," she'd said in the parking lot after. "I don't mean to. I know, and I need to speak up faster instead of shutting down." He'd taken her hand. "We're both learning." They were. Slowly, imperfectly, but learning. The wedding planning was blessedly simple. Small chapel 3 blocks from the house. Reception at Giovanni's, the Italian restaurant from their first real date. Guest list, 28 people. No bridal party, no choreographed dances, no speeches unless someone felt moved. Zara found her dress at a consignment shop. Simple ivory sheath, cap sleeves, nothing fancy. $90. Marcus offered to buy her something new, something expensive. She'd kissed him and said no. February 14th, 11:47 in the morning. Zara stood at the back of the chapel, bouquet trembling in her hands. White roses everywhere, simple, clean theirs. Through the doorway she counted the people who mattered. 30 heads, maybe less. Rita already dabbing her eyes in the front pew. Tom beside her, shoulders unusually straight in his good suit. And Marcus, at the altar, hands clasped, looking like he might shatter from nerves. Elijah tugged her dress. "Mama, it's time." He was devastating in his miniature suit, the ring pillow clutched like treasure. She'd tried explaining his job 17 times last night. He'd listened to exactly none of it, but stood ready anyway, vibrating with importance. The pianist began. Everyone rose. Zara walked alone. No hand on her elbow, no symbolic transfer of ownership. She was giving herself to this marriage, not being given away. Her dress whispered against the floor. Simple. Off the sale rack. Perfect. Marcus's face when he saw her. God. Like she was every answered prayer. The officiant spoke about second chances, chosen family, roads that circle back to where they began, then vows, the ones they'd stayed up writing, arguing over wording, finally getting right. Marcus went first, voice breaking almost immediately. 4 years ago I lost you because I didn't fight. I let fear and circumstances pull us apart. Tears already tracked his face. I promise you for the rest of my life I will fight, not against you but for you, for us, for our family. I will be present, honest, brave enough to be vulnerable. I will be the father Elijah deserves and the partner you can count on. He swallowed hard. I choose you today and every day forward. Zara's turn. She'd promised herself she wouldn't cry. Lasted about 8 seconds. You gave me the greatest gift of my life, Elijah. But you also gave me something I thought I'd lost. Hope. Hope that love can survive loss. That people can choose each other even after being torn apart. Her voice steadied. I promise to trust you. To let you in even when I'm scared. To build with you instead of protecting myself from you. I choose you, Marcus. Again and forever. The rings. Elijah marched forward, pillow extended, absolutely nailing his moment. I now pronounce you. Kiss! Elijah shouted. Laughter rolled through the chapel. Marcus grinned through tears, cupped Zara's face and kissed her. Not performative, not for show. Just them, finally, completely. Late February, 3 weeks married. Marcus walked through the front door at 5:28. Zara checked the kitchen clock, smiled. Dinner still had 10 minutes. Daddy. Elijah launched himself from the living room floor, Legos scattering. Hey, buddy. Marcus caught him, settled him on his hip like he'd been doing it forever instead of just months. What did you build today? A spaceship with guns and a kitchen. Naturally. Zara appeared in the doorway, dish towel over her shoulder. Marcus crossed to her, kissed her while Elijah made exaggerated gagging sounds. How was the tasting? Good. Really good. She'd met with a couple that morning. Walked them through menu options in the commercial kitchen she'd started renting twice a week. They booked me for their anniversary party in May. That's great. Simple words. But his eyes said he knew what it meant. Another client, another step towards something real and hers. March brought crocuses pushing through cold soil. Elijah turned 5 on the 16th. They threw a party in the backyard. 8 preschool friends running wild. Tom manning the grill. Rita directing chaos with the ease of someone who'd raised a daughter alone. The cake was store-bought because Zara had been slammed with work. She'd apologized 3 times before Marcus stopped her. He doesn't care where it came from, look at him. Elijah was shoving chocolate cake in his face, frosting in his hair, laughing with his friends. You're right. She leaned into Marcus's side. I need to stop being perfect at everything. You already are perfect. Liar. You're liar. Marcus's 31st birthday fell on a Tuesday. Zara cleared her schedule, spent the afternoon baking. The cake emerged lopsided, listing dangerously to port. It's abstract, Rita offered, inspecting it when she came to pick up Elijah for a sleepover. It's a disaster. It's made with love. He'll cry over it. Rita was right. Marcus did cry, just a little, quickly wiped away while Elijah wasn't looking. Zara's 29th arrived in April. Marcus arranged everything with Rita, reservations at the kind of restaurant where they brought bread on actual silver trays. I don't have anything to wear to this place, Zara had protested. Wear the blue dress, the one from our date. She did. Felt absurdly out of place walking in, surrounded by women in designer labels and men in custom suits. Then Marcus took her hand. You belong anywhere you choose to be. The waiter seated them. Zara looked around. Really looked. Saw people, just people. Some happy, some going through motions. Some in love, some pretending. She belonged here because she chose to be here, with him. Dinner was perfect. Sunday mornings meant pancakes. Marcus's specialty now. He'd researched recipes until he found one Elijah declared the best ever. Wednesdays meant movie night. Elijah picked, which meant a steady diet of dinosaur documentaries and animated films Marcus could recite in his sleep. Saturdays meant the farmer's market. All 3 of them wandering stalls, Elijah begging for samples, Zara selecting produce with a chef's critical eye, Marcus carrying bags and feeling absurdly content. Tom showed up unannounced most Sundays with tools, fixed the cabinet hinge that stuck, adjusted the garage door, replaced light bulbs that hadn't burned out yet. Really, he just wanted to be there. Rita started joining him some weekends. They'd sit on the back patio drinking coffee while Zara cooked, and Marcus played with Elijah, 2 people who'd failed their own partners finding unexpected friendship in shared grandparenthood. How you think they'll figure it out? Marcus asked one Saturday, watching them laugh over something. Figure what out? That they like each other. Zara followed his gaze. Mom would kill me if I interfered. Noted. Not everything was easy. Zara's business grew faster than she'd expected. By mid-April, she had bookings 3 months out. She hired an assistant, a recent culinary school graduate named Jamie, who had good hands and better instincts, but success felt precarious, like something she didn't deserve, couldn't keep. What if I mess up, she asked Marcus one night, stress making her voice tight. What if I take on too much and fail? Then you'll adjust and try again. What if people realize I'm just, what? Talented? Hardworking? Stop waiting for someone to take this away from you. You earned it. She breathed, nodded, believed him. Marcus still spiraled sometimes into what-ifs. What if he'd fought 4 years ago? What if he'd pushed past his mother's disapproval, demanded answers, refused to accept Zara's silence? You're stealing from our present, Zara told him gently when she found him looking at Elijah's baby photos one evening. I know, I do it too, but we can't live there. I missed so much, and you're here for everything now. He pulled her close. Let it go. They saw their therapist monthly, not crisis management, but maintenance. Learning each other's languages, navigating conflicts before they became wounds. Elijah had nightmares sometimes. Daddy leaving, Mama crying, being alone again. They'd take turns sitting with him, lights on, explaining that families stayed together now, that he was safe. The nightmares grew less frequent. Healing happening in child time, slower than adults wanted, but exactly as fast as it needed. Early July. The coffee smell hit Zara the moment she opened the bag. Her stomach lurched. She dropped it, bolted for the bathroom, made it just in time. Third morning this week. "Mama?" Elijah knocked. "You okay?" She rinsed her mouth, opened the door. "I'm fine, baby. Just a bug." But bugs didn't last 3 weeks. Neither did stress, no matter what she kept telling herself. Rita arrived for lunch carrying soup. One look at Zara picking at her crackers, and her eyes narrowed. They cleared dishes while Elijah played outside. Rita's voice came quiet. "Baby, when's the last time you had your period?" Zara's hand stilled in the soapy water, counted back. 4 weeks, 5, 6. "Oh my God," Rita squeezed her shoulder. "You might want to take a test." That afternoon, Elijah at the Johnsons for a playdate, Marcus at work. Zara stared at 3 positive tests lined up on the bathroom counter. Pregnant. Her business was just taking off. Elijah was only 5. They'd talked about more kids eventually, but not now. Not when everything was finally... Her phone buzzed. "Rita, I'm spiraling," Zara said instead of hello. "I figured. Listen to me. Marcus loves being a father. He'll be thrilled. But the timing is never perfect. You have support this time. Resources, him. This is completely different from Elijah." Zara touched her still flat belly. "Different. Yes. Better." Marcus came home at 5:30 exactly, found her pacing the kitchen. "Hey." He kissed her, frowned. "You okay? I have something to tell you, and I don't know how you'll react." His face shifted to immediate concern. "What's wrong?" "Nothing's wrong. I'm..." Deep breath. "I'm pregnant." Silence. Marcus's eyes went wide. Then his face split into a grin so huge it transformed him. He whooped, grabbed her, spun her around. They both froze. Elijah's room stayed quiet. Marcus set her down carefully. "Sorry, should I not do that? Is spinning safe? What do you need? Are you okay?" She laughed through sudden tears. "I'm fine, we're fine, you're happy." "Happy?" He cupped her face. "Zara, I'm beyond happy. I missed everything with Elijah. Pregnancy, birth, baby years. I get to experience this with you. From the beginning. Together." They held each other in their kitchen, crying, laughing, already in love. "You're going to be a big brother." Elijah looked up from his dinosaurs, processing. "Where's the baby now?" "In Mama's belly." "How'd it get there?" Marcus coughed. Zara fought a smile. "Magic." Elijah accepted this. "Cool. Can it play with my trucks?" "Eventually." "Awesome." Late February, the following year. Zara waddled from the kitchen to the living room, one hand pressed against her lower back, the other cradling her enormous belly. "Any minute now," Marcus said for the 100th time that week, hovering. "The baby will come when the baby's ready." Zara lowered herself onto the couch, a careful, complicated maneuver at 9 months pregnant. Elijah bounced beside her. "Is today the day?" "Is it?" "Maybe, sweetheart." The nursery was ready. Pale yellow walls. A white crib Tom had assembled with unusual tenderness. Tiny clothes washed and folded. The hospital bag sat by the front door, packed and repacked 3 times. Everything was prepared. Zara had another Braxton Hicks contraction. She breathed through it while Marcus watched like she might shatter. "False alarm," she said. At 11:47 p.m., lying in bed scrolling her phone while Marcus snored softly, Zara felt the unmistakable gush. "Marcus," she shook his shoulder. "It's time." He bolted upright. "Time! Time! Real time. My water just broke." Chaos erupted. Marcus grabbed the hospital bag, his phone, his keys, then stood in the middle of the bedroom looking panicked. "What else? What am I forgetting?" "Me," Zara said, amused despite the contraction tightening across her belly. He drove like a grandmother, both hands gripping the wheel, checking mirrors obsessively. "You can go faster than 35, Zara said between contractions. "I have precious cargo." They arrived at 12:34 a.m. Rita met them at the entrance, scooping up a sleepy Elijah. "Go. I've got him. You take care of my daughter." Labor moved fast, faster than with Elijah. By 4:17 a.m., Zara was gripping Marcus's hand hard enough to crack bones, sweat plastering her hair to her forehead. "You're doing so good," he whispered, wiping her face with a cool cloth. "So good, baby." "I hate you," she panted. "I know. This is your fault. Completely my fault. I love you. I love you too." At 5:03 a.m. on February 15th, their first wedding anniversary, their daughter entered the world screaming. 7 pounds, 4 ounces of absolute perfection. The nurse placed the baby on Zara's chest, Tiny, red, furious at being evicted. Zara sobbed. Marcus sobbed. The baby kept screaming. "We did it," Zara breathed, looking up at him. "Together." Marcus kissed her forehead, tears streaming. "You did it. I just got to be here." But being there was everything. The thing about toddlers, Zara discovered, was their absolute commitment to chaos. Lily yanked every book off the bottom shelf. Again. Zara had just reorganized them 20 minutes ago. "No, baby. Books stay on the shelf." Lily grinned, Marcus's smile devastating at 13 months, and grabbed another handful. "She's helping," Elijah announced from the kitchen table, tongue between his teeth, as he practiced writing his spelling words. 6.5 now, first grade, so impossibly grown up it made Zara's chest ache. Marcus appeared in the doorway, tie loosened, briefcase abandoned by the door. 5:30. Like clockwork. He'd restructured everything, turned down promotions, brought on a partner, built a life that fit instead of one that looked good on paper. "How are my girls?" Lily shrieked and toddled toward him, arms up. She'd been walking 3 weeks now, lurching like a tiny drunk person, absolutely fearless. Marcus scooped her up, buried his face in her neck until she giggled. The sound filled every corner of the room. "Daddy, I got all my spelling words right. Mrs. Chen said I'm the best in the class." "Second best," Zara corrected gently. "You and James tied." "Close enough." Marcus ruffled Elijah's hair, examined the careful letters. "These look great, bud. Way better than mine at your age." Elijah beamed. Zara watched them, her family, alive and real and here, and felt the familiar swell of gratitude. 3 years since the wedding reception. 3 years since everything shattered and rebuilt. Not perfect years. Lily's RSV hospitalization had aged Zara a decade in 3 days. The fight about housework last month had been brutal, necessary, ultimately healing. Elijah's questions about the missing years still cut deep, but theirs, built on truth this time. "What's for dinner?" Marcus asked. "Leftover lasagna. I have an event tomorrow and need to prep." Her business had exploded. 3 employees now, a commercial kitchen lease, and next month, if everything went according to plan, a small cafe would open. Zara's Cafe, her name on the door. Terror and excitement warred in her stomach every time she thought about it. "I'll handle bedtime," Marcus offered. "You prep. You handled bedtime last night, and I'll handle it tonight." He kissed her forehead. "Partners, remember? Partners." The word still made her smile. They'd learned, slowly, painfully, how to share the weight instead of carrying it alone. Therapy helped. Love helped more. Rita arrived for dinner, bringing Tom. They came together now, an odd friendship forged through shared grandparent duty and mutual exasperation at their children's earlier stupidity. "How's my sunshine boy?" Rita pulled Elijah into a hug. "Grandma, I'm too old for that name." Never. Dinner was chaos. Lily throwing pasta, Elijah talking non-stop about his upcoming class play, Tom arguing politics with Marcus while helping clear plates. Family. Loud and messy and absolutely everything. Later, after baths and stories, and the complicated dance of getting 2 children to sleep, Marcus found Zara in the commercial kitchen she rented, prepping vegetables for tomorrow's event. He didn't speak, just picked up a knife and started chopping beside her. They worked in comfortable silence, shoulders brushing completely in sync. "Thank you," Zara said quietly, "for chopping carrots, for all of it, for being here, for staying." Marcus set down his knife, turned to face her. "Where else would I be?"